Welcome to this module on engaging partners and building partnerships in pragmatic trials. Pragmatic trials are designed to answer questions relevant to routine care settings, so they can't be built in isolation. Patients, families, clinicians, health system leaders, policymakers, community organizations, and researchers all bring different forms of expertise. The challenge isn't simply inviting people to the table. It is creating a partnership where their input can shape the trial from start to finish.
We have 4 objectives for this module. First, we will define what partner engagement means and the principles that make it meaningful. Second, we will look at co-design, how working with partners rather than designing around them. Third, we will move from theory to evidence using the PREPARE trial, where partner input led to concrete improvements in trial conduct. Finally, we will cover common barriers, including not knowing who to engage, building trust, supporting partner confidence, and managing practical constraints.
Let's start with the basic definition. Partner engagement isn't the same as sending someone a finished protocol and asking, "Any comments?" That is consultation, and sometimes it is useful, but it isn't the idea here. True engagement is about creating a bi-directional partnership. Researchers bring methodological expertise, but partners bring expertise in lived experience, clinical workflow, community context, policy realities, and implementation barriers. So, when building partnerships, think about how to create opportunities for partners to shape the research question, refine the design, improve recruitment materials, flag feasibility issues, support trial conduct, interpret findings, and share results in ways that are meaningful to the people affected.
Once we define partner engagement, the next question is, what makes it meaningful? These 6 principles are a useful checklist. Respect and fairness mean treating partner input as real expertise, not as a courtesy comment. Co-learning means everyone brings something different. Researchers bring methods, clinicians bring workflow realities, and patients bring lived experience. Transparency is about being clear from the start. What decisions are open for input, what constraints exist, and what the partnership can realistically influence. Accountability means closing the loop. If partners gave input, show how it changed the study, or explain why it couldn't be used. And then there is trust, which is built by doing what you said you would do. Finally, inclusivity means making sure the right voices are represented, not just the easiest voices to reach. So, who counts as a partner?
Yeah, the short answer is anyone with a meaningful stake in the healthcare decision your trial is trying to inform. That often starts with patients and families because they live with the condition, the care pathway, and the trade-offs. It also might include healthcare providers who understand what is practical in routine care. Then there are healthcare leaders, such as administrators and system decision-makers, who influence resources, staffing, and implementation. And policymakers, regulators, payers, and sometimes product manufacturers may matter when the trial could shape policy, coverage, or system-level decisions. The bottom of the slide includes a link to a more comprehensive NIH collaboratory list of potential partners. The key is to identify whose perspective is needed, when it is needed, and what decisions they can help improve.
Engagement goes beyond a meeting just before grant submission or at the study's start. It should span the full research process, though the intensity may change over time. Early on, partners can help identify research questions that matter to patients, clinicians, communities, or health systems. During study design, they can flag whether the protocol is realistic, whether recruitment plans make sense, and whether outcomes are meaningful. Once the trial is underway, partners can help troubleshoot implementation issues, improve communication, and identify barriers the research team may not see from the outside. Then, when results are available, partners can help interpret what the findings mean in practice and share them in ways that are credible and accessible. The main point is that engagement may ebb and flow, but it shouldn't disappear after the grant is submitted or the protocol is developed.
Co-design is where engagement becomes especially powerful because partners aren't just reacting to an already built plan. A trial can be scientifically elegant yet still fail if it doesn't align with real clinical workflows, patient priorities, community realities, or system constraints. Co-design helps catch those issues early while there is still time to adjust. So, our efforts should be aimed at designing research with partners, not for them. In the next slide, we'll look at the value co-design.
Co-design adds value in several very practical ways. First, it helps ensure the trial asks the right question, not just an academically interesting one. Partners can tell you whether the issue matters to them. Second, co-design improves feasibility. If a protocol looks great on paper but clashes with clinic flow, staffing, patient routines, or data systems, partners are often the first to spot the problem. Third, it can improve data quality. When providers understand and support the study, they are more likely to follow procedures consistently. Co-design also supports impact and implementation. People are more likely to use results from a trial they helped shape. And finally, partners can strengthen interpretation and dissemination by helping explain the findings' implications for their communities and care settings.
A practical point that is easy to overlook is compensation. If partners are contributing time, judgment, lived experience, community knowledge, or professional expertise, that contribution should be recognized. Fair compensation isn't just a nice gesture. It signals respect and helps reduce barriers to participation. That means budgeting for partner involvement from the start, not trying to find money after the grant is already built. It also means recognizing that participation takes time, like reviewing materials, attending meetings, preparing comments, and sometimes traveling or arranging caregiving. Compensation can take different forms depending on the partner and setting, but the principle is the same. Don't treat partner input as free labor. The CIHR link on here provides guidance on paying patient partners, including important considerations around payment and potential tax implications.
Now, let's make this a bit more concrete with the PREPARE trial, which was a pragmatic trial involving 1,201 Black and Latinx adults with moderate to severe asthma. Participants were assigned in a 1-to-1 ratio to either usual care alone or to usual care plus a patient-activated strategy, in which they used an inhaled corticosteroid whenever they used quick-relief asthma treatment. The trial was designed to fit real-world asthma care, including monthly surveys and patient-facing education. The main result was that the intervention reduced severe asthma exacerbations by 15%, 0.69 asthma exacerbations per person year in the intervention group versus 0.82 in the usual care group. Participants also reported better asthma control, better quality of life, and fewer missed days from work, school, or usual activities.
The PREPARE trial included 16 patient partners, including adults with asthma, caregivers of people with asthma, and community members from African American, Black, Hispanic, and Latinx communities. The group included English and Spanish-speaking partners, and they were involved through monthly meetings and study committees. These partners reviewed consent forms, instructions, videos, survey wording, and graphics to make sure materials were clear and culturally appropriate. They also pushed the team to use language that patients used and understood. For example, terms like rescue and maintenance inhalers weren't always familiar. Partners also shaped recruitment and trust building by emphasizing simple messages, appropriate Spanish wording, and relatable study staff. And importantly, they improved the participant experience by recommending immediate survey payment and appreciation notes from investigators.
This slide shows why partner engagement is more than a nice to have. It can directly improve trial conduct. In Prepare, partner and community advisor feedback helped the team solve two practical problems after the trial was underway. First, monthly survey completion was too low in the pilot. The team shortened surveys, reduced login friction, added text, email, and phone reminders, and added incentives. Survey response increased from 67% in the pilot to 96% in the first 3 months, with 92% overall. Second, participants using nebulizers were not consistently taking the recommended inhaled corticosteroid puffs. Advisors suggested clearer instructions, reminders, and physical cues, including attaching the ICS inhaler to nebulizer supplies. Reported use increased from 42% to 75%.
Let's move to common barriers to partner engagement. First is simply not knowing who to engage. This is especially true when researchers are working outside their usual networks or when the trial involves communities, clinics, or decision makers they have not partnered with before. A practical starting point is to identify site champions. These are trusted people who can open doors, such as clinicians, coordinators, patient leaders, or community contacts. From there, use existing networks rather than starting cold. And once you have early contacts, ask the very useful question, who else should be at the table? The key is to prioritize relevance and lived experience over convenience. The easiest person to reach isn't always the right partner. When starting discussions with potential partners, start small with focused conversations and build from there. At the bottom of this slide is a useful reference on partner engagement classifications and strategies.
The next barrier is trust and capability. Some partners may worry they are being used as symbolic advisors, or that their input will be politely heard and then ignored. Others may feel unsure because they don't have a research background. Providers may have a different concern, whether the trial will disrupt workflow or pose a risk to patients. The strategy is to make engagement predictable, respectful, and useful. Bring people in early. Create a space where questions and concerns are welcome. Use clear communication, not 12-page email updates that nobody reads. Support also matters. Plain language materials, pre-briefs, and basic training can help partners contribute with confidence. And most importantly, close the loop. Show how partner input changed the study. That is how trust becomes more than a word on a slide.
The final group of barriers is practical constraints. Even when people are interested, they may not have unlimited time or energy. Patients may be managing health issues, clinicians may be balancing full clinics. Community partners may have competing responsibilities. And in long trials, people move roles, change jobs, or step away. So the partnership plan has to be realistic. Respect people's time with flexible scheduling, virtual options, and clear agendas. Reduce burden by fitting engagement into existing workflows and routines where possible. Turnover also needs a plan. Reusable onboarding materials, recorded training, and clear documentation make it easier for new partners to join without having to start from scratch. And when priorities conflict, clear roles and decision-making processes matter. Transparency helps keep the group aligned, even when not everyone gets exactly what they want.
Thank you for watching. The main message is that strong partnerships require early engagement, clear expectations, fair compensation, trust building, and a real willingness to let partner input shape the study. For more modules and resources, visit the Pragmatic Trials Training Program website or use the QR code on this slide. And if you found this module useful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future modules in the series. Thanks again for watching.